What's up, everyone? So today I'm going to be going over the patch notes again. Only this time, I'm going to be going over the actual numbers of changes. So the other day, we did a community test over on my Twitch channel, twitch.tv/TrueGameData Live, if you want to follow there. We did a community test where we tested every single weapon in the game, except tactical rifles and sniper rifles, which we already had all those. Also marksman rifles. Those are all unchanged as far as I'm aware, so everything on TrueGameData should be correct there still. We tested all these guns that they listed all these changes for in the Season 4 Reloaded patch notes, as well as all the other ARs, LMGs, and SMGs. So every single damage profile is going to be up to date on the website in the next couple days. I haven't updated everything, but we're going to go through all of it today, and I'll show you all of the changes that were made. And there's actually quite a few that were not listed in the patch notes, or there's things that they didn't necessarily say in the patch notes that were changed, but it could just be because they were multipliers and things. But we'll go through all of that and compare the actual changes to the patch note changes, so you guys get a better understanding of exactly what changed. But this is a pretty cool video. I think we did some good work here. Community really helped out here. I'll put all our names up on the screen, but yeah, let's jump into it and I'll show you guys all of the changes. As always, if you guys like the channel, consider dropping a subscription for us. It's free for you and it helps us grow, helps us keep doing this and keep the website up to date. So let's jump into this and talk about all the actual patch note changes. All right, so real quickly, I just want to go through everybody that helped out. So these are the people that helped the community test. I'm not going to read all their names, but we had probably like 20-30 people help out, which is pretty awesome. So all your names should be on this list here. This was the sign up sheet. We did it we were going to do it in 2 separate segments, but I ended up just doing everything myself for the second segment. So this is the full list of everyone who helped. It was awesome. It's really cool. Cool thing to do to bring the community in and help out. And damage profiles are pretty easy to test, and I set up a pretty streamlined instruction sheet and methods for testing it. So it should have been, the results are good across the board, so nothing to worry about there. But let's jump into it and actually talk about the weapon changes here. So I'm going to do them in the same order that they were in the patch notes. So the only thing that's wrong here is the AK-47 is backwards. So the Modern Warfare AK on my sheet is first. So the upper torso multiplier decreased from 1.2 to 1.1. You can see the result there. The old damage profiles on the left, the new damage profiles on the right. And I highlighted the values that changed with color coding. So if it's red, it got worse. If it's green, it got better. And there's going to be some yellow in there too, and I'll talk about that when we get there. But so first off, this patch note was correct. Just the chest damage went down, the multiplier went down. So now it does 38 to the chest, 35 to the chest after 27.5 meters. No change to damage drop off. Cold War AK, they said headshot and upper torso, which is exactly what changed. So headshot went from 58 to 54 in the first range, 51 to 48 in the second range, 36 in the first range to 36 in the second range for chest shot, 43 to 36, sorry, 38 in the second damage range, down to 32 in the second damage range. So they just removed the chest shot multiplier from the Cold War AK, which I'm going to try not to give too many opinions. I like that they're increasing TTKs. I don't really like that they're doing it through removing chest multipliers, just because I think chest multipliers gave us something kind of unique to play with in terms of saying, well, this gun could be better if you're really accurate and you hit all your chest shots. I don't really like that they're removing all of those. They don't remove all of them, but they removed most of them, as we'll see as we go through this. And I also found that the damage drop off is 1 meter further now. That could just be testing differences. So even if they weren't in the patch notes, like I said, we tested it. So I tested the AN94 and the AS VAL. There were no changes to that. So the TrueGameData is correct on both of those still. C58. So C58, they say a lot of different things. They say headshot multiplier decreased, upper torso multiplier decreased, lower torso multiplier decreased, and damage range increased and recoil increased. So I actually found some differences here from the patch notes. Headshot was decreased in the first damage range. So it went from 58 to 54 in the first damage range out to 26 meters. And then in the second damage range, I actually found 53 headshot damage, which was 2 more than it used to have. So it actually gained some headshot damage out at range. And then the chest multiplier was correct. It reduced the damage from the chest numbers from 43.38 to 36.34, and then stomach and extremities actually went up in the second damage drop off again. And again, they took out the chest multiplier entirely. So again, I don't love that, but it is what it is. So I think the C58 is still really good at range. It lost the chest multiplier, but it actually gained headshot damage and gained stomach and extremities damage. So it should be still absolutely a meta weapon. Very, very good gun. The CR56 AMAX headshot multiplier increased, upper torso multiplier decreased. So in our testing, we found exactly that. It's exactly what they said. You do a little more headshot damage, 2 extra damage on headshot in the first and second damage range, and then 3 less damage on the chest shot completely removing the chest multiplier again, so it's the same as stomach and extremities. So the AMAX is probably okay. I just think there's probably some better options out there currently. FAL, so assault rifle Bravo, headshot multiplier decreased, upper torso multiplier decreased. And that's exactly what we found again. Nobody really used the FAL before except cheaters. A few people used it probably, but damage drop off is the same. Just significant reduction in headshot damage and a slight reduction in chest shot damage. It still has a little bit of a chest multiplier, but not as big as it was. As for the FARA, so the FARA, they said maximum damage decreased from 31 to 29 and recoil increased. So we're only talking about damages today, obviously. So I found that this is only true in the first damage drop off. So it went from 40, 31, 31, 31 to 39, then 29s for the other damage locations. And then out at range, it's actually still the same. Still 35, 26, 26, 26. So this is why it's important to actually measure stuff instead of just going off the patch notes, because sometimes they do things that you wouldn't expect in terms of how stuff's changed, even from the patch notes. These patch notes are very good. They're about as good as they could be without them just giving us the damage profile. But there are some things that need to actually be tested rather than just doing the math. FFAR got a big nerf. I don't exactly know why, but it got hit across the board. Got a 5-meter reduction in damage range, and every single damage value went down. 5 less headshot damage, 2 less chest, stomach, and extremities in the first damage drop off, and then 5 less headshot damage in the second damage range, and 2 less damage for chest, stomach, and extremities. It really didn't need this nerf, I don't think. It does have this next shot multiplier. We're going to be looking into that soon. I always say that, but I've just been extremely busy. I'd love to do next shot. I'd love to do upper arm, upper leg, lower leg. We know that's something that's in the game, just haven't had time to check it all yet. And I don't think it's a super common thing. I think it's pretty rare. So I don't think using the numbers on the website is really super inaccurate or anything. I think there's just a handful of guns that have weird multipliers. But yeah, I don't know why the FFAR caught such a hard nerf. It wasn't being used that much before, and now it's probably going to be not very viable in any way. So the Scar H, old values. The only thing that changed, I don't know exactly what they said they changed here. So yeah, upper torso multiplier decreased from 1.2 to 1.1. And that's exactly what we found. Just 3 damage less and first and second damage drop off for the chest shot. As for the Grau, minimum damage increase from 22 to 24. So this is the second drop off. And because the way they do damage values for Call of Duty games is everything's based off the minimum value, and then everything else is a multiplier off that. So if the minimum damage value was increased, then the headshot damage is also increased. So the Grau just got a pretty nice buff, actually. This is 1 less shot to kill at range, which is really nice. And then 3 extra headshot damage as well. So that's a nice little buff for the Grau. Groza got 2 meters more in range, but it got a damage nerf. So it lost 5 headshot damage in the first range, 3 headshot damage in the second range, 5 chest damage in the first range, 2 chest damage in the second range, 3 stomach, 1 extremities, and 2 stomach, 0 extremities. So this should actually not have a color because this didn't get changed. But every other damage value got changed there. So this Groza got a pretty significant damage nerf, but it also got a recoil buff. I'm gonna be looking into it for mid to long range use. That's not something we've ever really tried to use the Groza for before, so it might be pretty good at that now. So I can't really say if it's gonna be good or not. It's not really gonna be as good as an SMG anymore, just because it got these damage nerf values, and it already wasn't amazing at that. It was okay. It was an okay choice for like a sniper support, and it might fit in like that still. We'll see. I don't know, but I'm just showing the damage values today. Kilo, no change to the damage, so it's still really good out to 20. Not 20, sorry, like 80 meters when you have it fully kitted for long range. But then after that, it has that last damage drop off that most of the other ARs don't have. So it's really bad past 80 meters. Krig. So Krig, the minimum damage was supposed to be increased from 19 to 20. Or sorry. Minimum damage was increased from 25 to 26. And that's the only thing that was changed. So literally the Krig is the same as it was before, except that 1 extremities value for long range was increased by 1 point. So it's almost no different than it was before. I think it's still in a great spot because it has such little recoil, but I don't think it's like... I assumed that this minimum damage change was going to affect all the values like it has before, but in this case it didn't. So it's not quite as good as I thought it was going to be, but it's still very, very good. It's still a meta weapon. So the M4, Assault Rifle Charlie, some things changed here that they didn't say. So the headshot damage changed. It used to be 42. And then headshot damage in the second damage range changed as well. And it actually went up a point in the second damage range. So basically they made the M4, Modern Warfare M4, worse up close, but better at range. So I think it's a pretty good gun. It's probably close to meta, if not meta, when fully kitted for long range. There might be some other options that are a little bit better, but it seems like the overall, we'll talk about this more as I get into SMGs, but it seems like they really wanted to increase the TTKs up close, more so than at range, from what I'm seeing. Oden. So the Oden upper torso multiplier was changed from 1.3 to 1.2. Simple change. That's also what we found. I think the headshot's the same as the next shot on the Oden, because we were getting a lot of false headshot values for chest shots. So again, next shot's something we're going to look into. I think, like I said, a handful of guns have these weird multipliers for next shot and different extremities locations. So we'll look into that eventually, but just haven't had time yet. QBZ got a big old buff. So again, our findings basically match the patch notes. I haven't updated the speed stuff yet. I've only looked at damages so far. But headshots stay the same in the first damage range, but you get extra damage on chest, stomach, and extremities, and then you get extra damage again out at the longer drop-offs. Not a slight decrease in damage range again. So that could just be testing error. I mean, 1 meter is pretty small. It's easy to make a small mistake like that. RAM 7, I haven't color coded yet, so let's do that real fast. So it got worse across the board in the first damage range, and then second damage range stayed exactly the same. So no changes there. So again, I think they're trying to reduce those or increase those TTKs up close, but they haven't really made the long range TTKs a whole lot different. And this matches the patch notes. Basically, they don't tell the full story. They only say maximum damage. They don't tell you what happened in the other damage range. So that's why it's important to test this stuff. XM4 got a big nerf again. I've talked about this a little bit. I don't know why they did this. I didn't really think it needed it so much. But it's not a huge nerf. It's just I don't know. Maybe it's okay. But we'll see as we play. So decent nerf in the first damage drop off. 3 less headshot damage, 2 less chest, stomach, extremities. And then the second damage drop off, you get 2 less headshot damage, only 1 less on chest, stomach, and extremities. So it's probably still going to be pretty decent. They did increase the recoil, so we'll see. We'll see how that plays out. I think there's probably some better options than the XM4 now. Bruen had no change. FiNN had no change. The Bruin's probably getting a really good spot right now, actually, with the 60-round mag. I think it might sneak into the meta. We'll see. I'll be doing more. I literally haven't even played since the update yet. I've been so busy. So I haven't had a feel for this stuff yet. Just the numbers, and I actually think the Bruin's going to be pretty close to meta, if not meta. Holger 26. So the Holger, I don't know which one that is on here, I guess. Yeah, I don't know which one that is on here, but I can just show you what we found. So the only thing that was changed with the Holger, and this may not have even been in this patch, 1 damage is reduced on the last drop off for chest, stomach, extremities. Doesn't change the TTK, just changes the DPS a tiny bit. So it's basically unchanged. M60, I talked about this in the first video. Even though they changed this stuff, it's not going to make it meta at all. And again, they don't tell us about the second drop off, so we didn't know what the change was to the second drop off. So it turns out the second drop off is exactly the same. It just got a little bit of a buff inside 42 meters, but it's just too slow, and the reload's too slow, and there's just no way it's going to be meta with those changes. M91 had no change at all. MG34 had a change everywhere, and again, nobody was using this. It was already a bad gun, so it got a really, really strong nerf in the first damage range. I don't know if they thought people were going to start running this for its TTK or what, because it always had a good TTK. It was just the handling was horrible. Reload time was horrible. Mag size was small. There was just no way we could use it, even though it had good TTKs. So I guess maybe this was a preemptive nerf, thinking people were going to abuse it for its TTKs, but I just don't see that happening. So I didn't really feel like this needed to be changed. But yeah, significant nerf in the first damage drop off, and a moderate nerf in the second damage drop off as well. For the MG34. MG82 was unchanged in damage profile. PKM got a slight buff to headshot damage and stomach and extremities, but it lost its chest shot multiplier. So the chest shot in the second range got a little bit of a nerf, but everything else is the same. PKM is going to be decent, but again, just has such bad handling and reload time. It's going to be hard to recommend the PKM over the Bruen, I think. Bruin's going to be pretty nasty, and it has 60-round mag, so you can reload quickly and have better mobility. So I'm just not sure that the PKM is really going to fit in the meta. RPD, no change. didn't have good TTKs before, but it was really accurate. So we'll see how that plays out with the other guns. SA87 just caught a chest shot multiplier nerf. That's exactly what the patch notes said. So just went from 40-34 to 37-31 in chest shot. Not a huge deal. SA87 is probably decent. Had good TTKs before, and it was relatively accurate. So with this new meta, I think it might be in a pretty decent spot. Stoner caught a kind of small nerf, but a little bit of a nerf. In the first damage drop off, mostly headshot. Every shot location got a nerf in the first damage drop off for the Stoner, and then in the second drop off, only the chest shot got nerfed because it was just a chest shot multiplier nerf for the second damage range. Now on to SMGs. So SMGs is where I found the biggest discrepancies from the patch notes. In a lot of situations, they removed the third drop off, so they're a lot like ARs now in terms of damage drop offs. So we'll see as we go through this. First one, AK-74U. This is where the yellow comes into play. So before it had 2 drop offs, one at 18 meters and one at 25 meters. Now it only has one at 14 meters. So for this one, from 0 to 14 meters, caught a pretty big nerf. I really think they're trying to increase TTKs up close. I think range TTKs also needed to be increased, which they are a little bit, but not much. But you can see these are significant nerfs to the first damage range. So, and then from 18 to 25 before, it did 40-25 across the board. So now you're actually going to do more damage from 18 to 25 than you did before, because the new damage drop off is at 14 meters, but it's going to be worse from 14 to 18 than it was before, but better everywhere else past that. So they're kind of, some of these SMGs might actually make really good like sniper supports now, kind of like we were using the Milano in the previous patch. I think now a lot of SMGs might fit into that category now that we know all these damage drop offs have been removed. And like I said, we don't know if this happened before or if this was actually in this update, but now that we know these last damage drop offs have been removed, we'll have a much more open sniper support meta, I think. Modern Warfare AUG was the same exact thing, where they removed the last damage drop off. So before it had 3 damage drop offs, now they extended that first one out a little bit and removed the last damage drop off. So these are pretty drastic changes to the SMGs that I would guess they happened in this patch, but we really don't know. I'll put all this on the website soon, and we'll be able to get a really clear view of what would be a good sniper support. Bullfrog, same story. Bullfrog used to have 3 drop-offs. They reduced the drop-off range down to 13 meters from 15, and completely removed the last damage drop-off. So that's why this last column is green, because there's no drop-off there at all anymore, so that's a good thing. These guns are all significantly better at range than they used to be. This is not supposed to be the AK-74U. I don't know if I just forgot to... Yeah, it's just copied. I just skipped this one, so we'll just skip that. Modern Warfare AUG. Again, I copied this and skipped it, so we'll skip that. Fennec is the next one on here. So Fennec, same story with the Fennec. Last drop-off was removed, but they did change the middle drop-off. And the damage values aren't a whole lot different than they were before at range, so it's not a huge change for the Fennec. It's just a little bit worse from 13 to 18, and a little bit better from 18 on. The ISO already only had 2 drop-offs. ISO got a slight buff to the second damage range past 18 meters. Just 1 damage point, nothing significant. Again, we'll have to wait to see how all this plays out on the TTK charts once I get everything on the website. Right now, it's kind of hard to tell. KSP, because all the other SMGs caught such a significant nerf in the first damage range, the KSP might actually be pretty good. It might be a bit of a sleeper. We'll have to see on the charts where it plays out, but I think because all the other SMGs pretty much caught a big nerf, KSP might be an interesting weapon, especially for like sniper support. We'll have to see. But it also got a little bit of damage range boost and a slight nerf to headshot damage, but hardly anything there. LC10 got the last damage drop off removed, but the damage values were also reduced for the 20 meter plus. So before, from 20 to 26, it did a little bit more. Now it does a little bit less from 20 to 26, but from 26 on, it's better now than it used to be. Mac 10 did remove the second drop off, or the third drop off, but the values at 15 meters plus were reduced a ton. So the MAC-10 caught a pretty significant nerf. I don't think it's, besides having amazing mobility, I don't really think it's going to fit in the meta anymore, unfortunately. It's much worse than it was before in terms of damage. I don't know why. I don't know. It's a lot of people love the Mac because it's really, really easy to use, has really low recoil, and just feels great. But with these changes, I don't know. It's gonna be really hard to recommend over the other SMGs. Cold War MP5, I don't understand this nerf. Just a damage nerf across the board. Now it does less damage than the Modern Warfare MP5 and has worse recoil. I don't get that. Before it was balanced interestingly with the Modern Warfare MP5 where it did more damage, had better time to kills, but had way worse recoil, so it was kind of hard to say which was better. And now it's just like, just use the Modern Warfare MP5 for sure. Modern Warfare MP5 unchanged, MP7 unchanged. Milano, so in the Milano, in the patch notes, they say they changed all of this stuff, upper torso multiplier, lower torso multiplier. I didn't see that in testing. I'm going to double check this. That's what this note is here. I'm going to double check this, but in the testing, I only found that the headshot changed. So the Milano should still be pretty good if this is correct. I don't know why it wouldn't be correct, but I will double check it just to make sure. So Milano caught a big headshot nerf, but the chest and stomach and extremities stayed the same despite what the patch notes say. P90 got a nice buff where they removed that last drop off. So hopefully, again, we'll have to see how this plays out on the TTK charts, but P90 might make a decent sniper support now because it didn't get a nerf to its up close damage values like a lot of the other SMGs, and they removed the last drop off, so it might be pretty good sniper support. Also has like no recoil, super easy to control. Bizon got a very small nerf to damage for every shot location in the first damage range. It actually kept its third damage drop off though. I don't know why. Got a slight buff to the middle damage drop off, just 1 damage point increased from 14 to 22, and then 1 damage point decreased from 22 on. So a slight buff in the middle, but nerfed on either side of that. PPSh, I need to double check this one. I didn't get the second damage profile. I forgot to double check this. I literally meant to do this earlier today, but I didn't. So we'll double check that. But in the first damage range, I do have that for sure, and it was just reduced by 2 damage across the board. It had really good TTKs before, so it's probably still going to be decent even with these changes. We'll just have to see. And then second damage range again, I don't know. We'll get that very soon though. It'll be on the site. Striker had no changes. PPSh again, I copied and didn't use. So this is the Uzi, 9mm Uzi. Didn't have a change in the first damage drop off, and got 1 extra meter of range for the second drop off, and then actually got a slight buff to the damage for the second drop off, up 2 headshot damage, 1 chest, 1 stomach, 1 extremities, and then they completely removed the last damage drop off. So the Uzi 9mm might be a decent sniper support now as well, which is interesting. It's a lot like the Milano. It's gonna be a lot like the Milano. Modern Warfare AK, these are going to be the ammo conversions now. So Modern Warfare AK with the 5.45 rounds, for some reason doesn't have that last drop off removed. Just got a nerf across the board. 3 damage for every single chest shot location. So it's just got a little bit slower TTKs on chest shots. AS VAL SPP rounds was unchanged. The AMAX with M67 rounds, same damage profile, but got an extra 11 meters of damage range compared to the last time we tested. Again, this may not have all changed in this patch. It may have just been from the past. We just haven't tested everything in a long time. M4A1 with 9mm rounds just got a damage range nerf. So it used to be 16 to 18.5 were the drop-offs, and now it's 12 to 17. So the first damage drop-off moved back by 4 meters. The second damage drop-off moved back by 1.5 meters. Damage values are all the same. M4 SOCOM, no change. AUG 5.56, no change. Fennec hollow point, no change. Striker got a pretty big buff with the hollow point rounds. It has no damage drop off past 16 meters now. It used to have one at 24 meters. So that's a nice buff for the Striker hollow point. Again, nobody's really using this, but it's just nice that the last drop off was removed. FiNN adverse had no change. And I will double check Uzi 41AE because I was pretty sure I had these numbers. I may have just forgotten to put them in here. So yeah, Uzi 41AE was no change. All right, that's everything I had to cover today. Obviously, that was a ton of data to go through, but hopefully you can just jump around with timestamps to the weapons you want to look at specifically. It seems like they're trying to dramatically increase TTKs up close and just slightly increase TTKs at range. So I think both needed to be increased, not just up close. And then with the removal of all those damage drop-offs for the SMGs, I think we're going to have some really interesting sniper supports. I loved the Milano as a sniper support in this previous meta. Even though it wasn't the best at anything, it was just so well-rounded and good at everything that it was amazing as a sniper support. And now that there's a bunch of other SMGs that I know of that don't have that second damage drop-off, I think I'll be able to find some really, really good sniper support SMGs in there. So I think that's going to be fun to play with, specifically, especially since we're in a very good sniper meta right now. Kar 98 and Swiss are really going to shine. ZRG is really going to shine. LW3 is in a good spot. It's in a pretty good sniper meta right now. So it's going to be nice to have good sniper support options in the SMGs. But yeah, we're trying to hit 200,000 subscribers by the 1 year anniversary of the channel. I don't know if we're going to make it or not. It's like the 13th of August, so a little under a month from now. We need like 29,000 subs. That seems like a lot, but really these videos get between 50 and 100,000 views, and usually like 40% of you aren't subscribed. So if you're not subscribed and you like the content and you like the website, just drop us a sub. It really helps us out and allows us to keep doing this full time. So there's only 2 people working for TrueGameData, me and Christina, who's I Am Gamer Girl on Twitch. But yeah, helps us out, helps us keep doing this. So consider that. But I hope you guys had a good day. Hope you found this interesting and useful. I'm gonna keep working hard, and I'll see you guys all in the next video.